AEW Tag Team FTR say they have made a decision on their future, and there is a possible hint they could be returning to WWE. We're going to be talking about that. Plus, Shawn Spears, another AEW star, he is also teasing a return to his former company. Mercedes Mone opens up on her WWE exit, saying nobody knows the full story of what happened. Stone Cold Steve Austin has discussed for the first time the speculation that he could be participating in a match at WrestleMania 39. Ronda Rousey is currently dealing with an injury, so who's replacing her at WWE live events? We'll talk about that. MVP's not happy with WWE 2K23. We'll let you know why. Kurt Angle reveals he'd be open to a certain type of match to get him out of retirement in WWE. And Cody Rhodes reveals his special WrestleMania 39 t-shirt. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrest News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of World Wrestling Entertainment. So let's start off talking about FTR, or I guess formerly known as The Revival in WWE. Current AEW tag team FTR, that is. And Dax Harwood has now shared a big update on his and Cash Wheeler's next moves and what they will be ahead of their contracts reportedly expiring with All Elite Wrestling. FTR made their return at the March 5th Revolution pay-per-view, attacking the Guns following their AEW World Tag Team Championship defense. Harwood and Wheeler had been on hiatus to consider their next moves in professional wrestling, with their AEW contracts reportedly set to expire that April. Harwood has now taken to Twitter to reveal that he and Wheeler have made their decision. Stressing that nothing is official at the moment, Harwood wrote, quote, "Just got off the phone with Cash. We've decided what we're going to do come April. Nothing is official yet, so legally can't speak on it, but in the next couple of weeks we'll let all of our fans know. We owe it to you for the opportunities we have in front of us. Love you all." Now, it was previously stated that whatever FTR do next will likely be their final major wrestling venture. Obviously, if we get any more updates on this, we'll continue to provide updates on FTR as they become available. However, there is a bit of speculation regarding if they could be going back to WWE, if this is all a work. There had been conflicting reports about their AEW status and their AEW contracts. As I mentioned, it was tweeted out that by Howard that he and Wheeler, also Triple Crown WWE Tag Team Champions from before they joined AEW in 2020, have made their decision on what their future holds for them. Now, this comes after Harwood had stated months ago that their AEW contracts were up in April, although, as I mentioned, there have been some reports, specifically from PW Insider, that the belief is they've actually been locked into long-term AEW contracts. To clarify, after FTR returned to AEW at Revolution on March 5th, after being out since December, PW Insider writes, quote, "As PW Insider has reported in the Elite section, the belief was that FTR are locked into long-term deals with AEW, and their disappearance and tease of going elsewhere was just a storyline cover." Now, whatever the case may be, we're going to find out soon whether FTR are staying or going. Dax Harwood had refuted those reports on his podcast, saying that nothing had changed regarding their future status and their AEW contract. He didn't dispute the report, but he did say that nothing had changed regarding their current status within AEW, and just Tony Khan had given them a call just before Revolution and they decided to come back. However, some are saying, no, they're locked into long-term deals. They're going to be the next AEW World Tag Team Champions. As I said, sooner or later, we're going to find out. Now, to add a bit more fuel to this fire, there is something else to ponder. A couple of hours before Howard tweeted out he and Wheeler having made their decision, he announced the next topic of his podcast, and it's none other than Triple H. You know, the guy that runs WWE Creative and previously booked FTR at the top of his tag team division in NXT. Howard tweeted, quote, "Later this evening, we're recording FTR with Dax, and it's all about my former boss, Triple H. Any questions about him as a boss, leader, mentor, creator, or anything in general, drop it down below with the hashtag FTR with Dax." There are probably three possibilities here. There's one that speculative people will jump to, and the reason that articles on social media and the internet exists, which is that this is a big hint that Harwood and Wheeler are going to be going to WWE given the timing of it. The second is that it's not a clue, but Harwood was just being smart in making the announcement when he did, knowing that the timing of it and the timing of his podcast will lead to a lot of talk, a lot of views, a lot of listens, which is probably the most likely outcome. Or thirdly, it's just a coincidence, it means nothing at all, and people are just looking too much into it, which is probably part of it as well. Now, obviously, I'm not going to tell you which one of these is going to happen or for a certainty, because because we don't know. But one thing is for certain, we're going to find out very soon what is going to happen with FTR in their future, whether they're going to be all elite or whether they're going to be going back to WWE. Now, another AEW star who has teased a return to WWE is none other than Shawn Spears. AEW announced earlier last week that it would be heading back to Canada this summer for 6 shows, including the second annual Forbidden Door pay-per-view in Toronto. AEW released a poster for the shows featuring various top AEW stars, but one name who was not content and being not featured was Shawn Spears, who of course is Canadian. Spears joined AEW back in 2019 following his WWE release earlier that year, where he spent 2 years on the main roster as Ty Dillinger after spending a long time in developmental. A fan took to Twitter over the weekend reminiscing on Dillinger's entry into the 2017 Royal Rumble match and how insanely over he was during that time. Spears himself reacted to the video with a caption, quote, run it back. Now, as I mentioned, Spears' former Pinnacle stablemates FTR have also been the centre of a lot of speculation regarding their future in the company recently, and they could be heading back to WWE. Could Shawn Spears also be heading back to WWE? We know that his best friend Cody Rhodes is now back in WWE. Of course, he's main eventing WrestleMania. Doesn't really have a position of power to bring people into the company like he did in AEW, but could we see Ty Dillinger return to WWE in the future? If we get any updates, we'll let you know. Now, one person who is not in WWE at the moment, a former WWE superstar, that being the former Sasha Banks, now known as Mercedes Mone, and she has addressed rumours about her WWE departure and her arrival in Japan earlier this year. After walking out on a Monday Night Raw taping in May 2022, Mercedes went on a hiatus and only made her return to the wrestling world in January at the New Japan Wrestle Kingdom 17 event. Mercedes returned to the ring at the February 18 Battle in the Valley event, defeating Kairi to win the IWGP Women's Championship in San Jose, California. Speaking at Planet Comic-Con 2023, Mercedes noted that nobody knows the full story behind her WWE exit. When asked if she'd return to WWE now that Triple H is running creative, the CEO noted, quote, first of all, nobody knows the story. You don't know the story, but you're reading whatever you want to read and believe whatever you want to believe. Nobody knows the story because I haven't said anything, and I'm not going to say anything because that's just the classy boss that I am, the CEO. But one thing, it's up to them. It's up to Dakota. It's up to everybody else to come back. That's great for them. That's awesome. That's their dream, but I went after mine, which was going to Japan. You have to follow your heart and follow your soul and follow your dreams, and this was always a dream of mine that I never got to accomplish. As I'm growing in my career, I'd been in WWE for almost 10 years. I had to have a change. I had to feel something different in my heart and my soul. I had to go after a whole new dream and a whole new chapter and a whole new destiny for me. And this is what I wanted for me. This is what I wanted to make happen for me. That's it. This is what I'm going for. This is my dream. Now, another update had emerged regarding Mercedes Moné's contract with Bushiroad, which we are going to talk about in today's AEW news video, so be sure to check that out later today on the channel. But she says nobody knows the full story regarding her WWE exit. Now, it's pro wrestling, so of course nothing stays a secret forever in this industry. So I'm sure at some point we'll hear the story. Maybe it's when she does return to WWE. Maybe if she goes to AEW, she'll do a podcast where she'll explain all. Maybe she'll launch her own podcast and she'll explain all. Nevertheless, Mercedes Moné clearly holds all the keys when it comes to discussing her WWE exit. Now, what about WrestleMania? Of course, just a couple of weeks away now. And Stone Cold Steve Austin is a name that's been closely associated with this year's event, but as of right now, is not currently planned or booked or announced for anything. Nevertheless, WWE Hall of Famer Stone Cold Steve Austin has now addressed speculation about his status for WrestleMania 39. Austin, of course, made his in-ring return at last year's WrestleMania 38 show, wrestling Kevin Owens in his first full match since 2003, nearly 20 years ago. Ahead of this April's event, reports had indicated that Austin was pitched several matches with both Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns on the show. Speaking with the Wrestling Classic, Austin noted that his WrestleMania status is to be determined. When asked about a potential appearance at the event, Austin said, quote, I haven't heard anything. We're literally, as we speak right now, about 2 weeks away, and it's the biggest show of the year. Right now, I think WWE has got as good of a roster as they've had since the Attitude Era. They've got a deep roster, so I think many guys and gals need those those coveted spots. They've got plenty of names to draw from, plenty of talent to draw from. I think they should shine a light and their cameras on their current superstars. But Austin, I guess, not ruling anything out just yet, but maybe explains why he was maybe a little bit uncomfortable with taking a main event spot, but doesn't mean he won't wrestle in the future for WWE. Of course, he's in fantastic shape and has been training for the last, 18 months. And of course, there are still reports that WWE is still interested in having him possibly wrestle a match at next year's WrestleMania 40 event in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Ronda Rousey is currently out of action with an injury, and her WrestleMania status has been a bit up in the air since she sustained an injury last month, and she's been out of action ever since. Reports suggest that Rousey will indeed be back in action in time for WrestleMania, but in the meantime, she still isn't active either on TV or at house shows. In a bit of an update on that, Shayna Baszler, Ronda Rousey's tag team partner, actually did work the latest WWE house show this past weekend, and it was even in a tag team match. Baszler's partner, so Rousey's, I guess, replacement of sorts, Rhea Ripley. Baszler and Ripley defeated the team of Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan in Baszler's hometown of Sioux Falls, South Dakota on March 19, that being last night. This doesn't seem to be preparing for a WrestleMania without Rousey, because if that was the fact, WWE may have gone with someone other than Ripley for Baszler to work alongside if it was expected she'd need a different partner just for the sake of building upon some chemistry with that person. Obviously, Ripley has the match against Charlotte Flair, so if Baszler does need a new partner, it's unlikely to be her. Rousey and Baszler at one point were supposed to be challenging Damage Control for the Women's Tag Team Championship at WrestleMania, which itself was a change in plans after it was decided that Rousey would be going into the tag team division instead of the singles title match at WrestleMania. But that now won't be happening now because of delays and changes to creative for Damage Control and the return of Trish Stratus. The result of that is now a 6-woman tag team match with Damage Control facing off against Stratus and new Women's Tag Team Champions who defeated Damage Control a couple of weeks ago, Becky Lynch and Lita, a match that was originally planned for Elimination Chamber, according to WRKD Wrestling. WrestleVotes reported that the belief is that Rousey and Baszler would be one of the 4 teams in the women's 4-way tag match at WrestleMania that was announced on SmackDown, which the team of Rodriguez and Morgan have already qualified for. So Rousey's status is a little bit up in the air, but it is expected that she is going to be back in time for WrestleMania and is going to be part of that 4-way tag team match. Now, WWE 2K23 came out last week, and MVP's not happy about it. Well, about his render in the game anyway. WWE 2K23 came out last week, and plenty of WWE stars have been reacting to the game and their characters on social media. Some of the reactions have been positive, some have been negative. The latest story is coming from MVP, who doesn't seem to be impressed about the suit choice from 2K. Taking to Twitter, he wrote, quote, "Someone hates me. Someone at WWE Games designed that intentionally, and then at least one person signed off on that suit and said, yeah, that works for MVP. Legit heat with someone there for sure. Yeah, my eyes are cockeyed too. Damn, I've got white hot heat with somebody. WWE Games put me in the game with that suit in the upper left corner. I just don't understand why they hate me so much. Who did I anger? Who at WWE Games do I owe money to? Do I deserve this? Why?" Certainly not happy with the game. Obviously, the idea of legit white-hot heat would seem to be exaggeration for comedic effect, so don't take it too seriously. I know sarcasm doesn't really translate nowadays on social media, but he still doesn't seem particularly happy about it. You know, when you make a joke that you're so mad about something, you're not really that mad, but there might be a little kernel of truth involved in there. If you have played WWE 2K23, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and let me know if you'd like to see me play it, do some streaming on the channel in the future. Let me know in the comment section below. Kurt Angle. Now, Kurt Angle is retired. He had his last match in 2019 at WrestleMania 35 against Baron Corbin. What a terrible ending for a Hall of Fame career like Kurt Angle. He hasn't actually had a match since WrestleMania 35 in 2019, as I mentioned. And while many fans were far from satisfied with that match and the choice for his opponent, Angle has stuck to his retirement and has not yet been tempted to step back inside the ring, despite many offers from the likes of AEW to do multiple matches within the company. However, according to Angle himself on his Kurt Angle Show podcast, there is in fact one match type that could maybe get him to don his singlet once again. While discussing the Boneyard match between The Undertaker and AJ Styles at WrestleMania 36, Angle would reveal that he would be game for orchestrating a similar match in the future. He said, quote, "I could do that. I'd be game for that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to do it every year, but if I'm going to do a match, I would want to pre-record it, and I would want each shot to come whenever I was ready to do it. There's nothing wrong with doing matches like that, especially if you're going to put them on TV." Angle would then defend cinematic matches and their place in the current wrestling landscape. He said, quote, "I mean, having a match where you just do it all in the ring and you do it live in front of people, that's one thing that's really impressive. That's the most impressive match you can have. But having a match where you have spot after spot taped at different times and you put it all together, it's still a wrestling match. Now, don't get me wrong, you're cheating a little bit, but it's still going to come across incredibly well. That Undertaker AJ match was awesome." Now, obviously, I think people look at cinematic matches and think they're easy, but if you ask The Undertaker and Sting, who have done them, Sting said he was only going to come back to do cinematic matches, and he said it was easier to do matches in front of a live audience as opposed to the cinematic matches. They're tough. But would you like to see Kurt Angle return in a cinematic match in WWE if that meant he got the retirement match that he deserves? Finally, WrestleMania is getting closer and closer, and Cody Rhodes has revealed a special WrestleMania 39 t-shirt to mark the event. With Cody Rhodes just 2 weeks away from potentially finishing the story at WrestleMania 39 against undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns, it looks like WWE fans may have a surprise in store for them. Announcing via Twitter, Cody Rhodes has unveiled a brand new WrestleMania-themed t-shirt designed to commemorate the occasion. The design features the Finish the Story tagline written in classic font of the WrestleMania events from the 80s and 90s. Oh, and it also features Cody's best boy Pharaoh, as well as Cody hoisting an American flag. Cody tweeted, quote, "Special hashtag WrestleMania tee, entrance gear edition available at SoFi Stadium Superstore, ring gear edition coming out soon on WWE Shop. Thanks to Marcus Mack for the idea, and of course Pharaoh for being the best boy ever." So if you're attending SoFi Stadium, you can get one, or if you go to WWEshop.com, you can get one as well if that's your kind of thing. But there you go, guys. It's the latest WWE news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. Remember, you can join the WN365 roster by clicking that join button. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak for you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.